All right, it's week 3. It's Monday night. We're here for feature match. Feature matches for Phyrexia all will be one sealed league. We got Jordan, and I'm looking at his hand over here. He's facing Tim, who's back for a third week in a row. He lost the first one, won last week, and he's back here. And Justin's going to be looking at his hand. Looks like he's sticking with the Boros deck that he was running last week. What's he? What
Yeah,
else he got in hand after this nice 2-drop here?
yeah. I remember last week his deck looked pretty consistently aggressive and looked very scary with how mana efficient it could be. He's suffered a few losses, so it could even be potentially even better now. But yeah, we see that now. He has a good 2-drop in Duels of Deep Faith. He has a couple Hex Gold slashes in his hand to try and pave the way.
He might
And he has
just.
good equipment with like the War Whip, the Bullshock Splitter, and the Bard Batterfist.
All right, so he decided that 1-3 was going to be annoying to get through, as it often is. Yeah, so Jordan looks. He has Abzan colors here. He's playing a premium 3-drop here, Glissa. So that one doesn't get Hex Gold slashed quite as easily here, and you know basically can never be blocked and can't be attacked into at all. So I
Yeah,
guess.
not really much way for. I guess Red has Volt Charge, but it's one of the few creatures that's very annoying and can't get Hex Gold slashed in the set.
Yeah, you got planar disruption. You got. Oh, okay.
I think
Oh,
he's just
yeah. He can hex gold slash if Glissa blocks the duelist of Deep Faith, right? Because they
yes,
both
yes.
have first strike, so the death touch doesn't really come into play that much. Because the duelist of Deep Faith will still do damage to it. But I guess the 3-1 was just a bluff there. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly just a bluff for like the uncommon combat trick that gives equipped creatures indestructible.
Yeah, resistance reunited. You don't see that one too often, but when it works, it works. And yeah, now he's actually suited up his token here, and Glissa can't really attack into it. And Jordan has a handful of creatures, which is not bad, but it doesn't help him get an attack here with Glissa. So the Bladehold War Whip coming down, reducing the equip cost to 0, and meaning he can actually defend himself here. So pretty good. And now this bloated contaminator should be target of a hex gold slash, I imagine, if you said he had 2.
Yeah, he has one left because he used one
Yeah.
to get through that 1/3. But if he uses the Hex Gold Slash, he has no way to realistically get through Glissa with the 2/2 at least.
Yeah, it's a rough one because these creatures are just so high quality, the ones that Jordan are playing. I mean,
Yeah.
Blade of Warwhip is an extremely high quality card as well, but it's just one equipment, and these are just creatures that can, attack and block when they need to.
Yeah, it's a very awkward situation because Tim wants to be aggressive, but like the only creature you can attack with is that 3/1 double strike, and that just kind of just gets chump blocked by the 1/1, and you're very happy to chump block with that 1/1 in this scenario because that means you get to attack back for a whole lot more value.
Yeah, and this Gold Warden's Helm, while not a bad card, doesn't really, doesn't really help out much here. Um, Yeah, so Jordan has, like I said, he has a handful of creatures. He just drew a Pestilent Siphoner. He also has Dune Mover, Basilica Shepherd, and Indoctrination Attendant. So I'm
Yeah,
thinking he's going to cast his Pestilent Cipher and Dune Mover here, get a 5th land set up for Basilica Shepherd. And then if he wants, he could get it back with the Indoctrination Attendant, which is a card that seems to just keep going up and up uh, in my evaluations of it. I think when I first read it, I was just like, oh, okay, it's just a 4-drop, 3/4, whatever. But it's actually pretty good, and the body is really relevant in this format. So
yeah, just the number 4 in the toughness is what makes it really good.
yeah, it's been a good performer because it can pick up your creature that's got enchanted by planar disruption. It can pick up your for Mirrodin equipment. It could pick up like an ETB creature like the Basilica Shepherd that's in his hand. So just
Yeah,
so many little uses, and sometimes you just pick up a land.
yeah. Even now I just read it and I still think it's underwhelming, but it does perform in this set. I have yet to cast one at all, actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I caught on to it a bit late, so I've been drafting it a bit more over the past week or so. But first bit of the format just wasn't really on my radar. It didn't seem like a card that the toxic deck wanted. Toxic deck just seemed to be more low to the ground than playoff format a 3/4 toxic. But card's very
Yeah,
useful. Right?
It's virtually never seen anymore. Like it gets picked up early in
Yeah,
draft,
more
showing how.
yeah, more weapons here for Tim, but we just got a little board stall with only this little 1/1 insect able to put through, but this 3/3 flying might change that. So what does Tim have left after he's deployed all of his equipment?
Well, he has two hex gold slashes.
Okay,
So
so he's drawn a second hex gold slash or the third overall.
yes, but hex gold slash, ironically, not very good against this board state. Even though a lot of the creatures say toxic on their name.
Yeah. So it's not really, yeah. It's the Basilica Shepherd. I think is the main threat here because it's the only creature that has attacks of, significant attacks of any kind, and you would have to use two on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, this game all really comes down to the Glissa. Not having an answer to it makes it so you can never attack. And
Yeah,
first strike, death touch, very very overpowered combination to have on a creature.
yeah. I mean, at least he's done a good job of assembling a blocker here. And Jordan, I assume, has some removal, but has not found it yet. And Tim decides he's ready to attack here. Um, so it means he's not really going to defend himself against Glissa, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a very fair attack. At this point, your opponent could start chipping away at you on this equal board, so you kind of have hard pressed to do something about it. And making your opponent chump block every turn with a 5/1 double strike is not a bad idea.
Yeah, but then what happens when Glissa attacks and he starts to draw cards? I mean, is he going to have to chump block the Glissa? Like, what's he's
Yeah, it might happen. Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Yeah, I had a fun interaction with Glissa during the day one of the arena sealed open where I forced my opponent to block a toxic creature because they were a toxic 3 creature because they were at 8 toxic, and I was able to get in
Okay.
with Glissa and remove 3 counters from my opponent's Archfiend of the Dross to lose them the game on their next upkeep.
Okay.
So
All right.
that last ability of
Sure.
Glissa, the remove 3 counters from a permanent, once in a while comes up. I believe it can also kill the Spinoderm if there's as long as it's not hexproof, it can remove the counters from that as well. Yep.
I
So
guess
as
it could also
expected.
kill walkers, right?
Yep, it can remove 3 counters from Planeswalkers as well. Yep. So more than just a card drawing machine, it can literally win the game on the spot. Yeah. So he's gonna leave back the Basilica Shepherd just as a blocker, and he is gonna get in with the Gliss as we suspected.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
probably looks at it. It's like what happens if my 4/4 dies to any removal, and then the opponent just has really good attacks against him because no creature can really size up.
Yeah, so Tim is throwing a body under the Glissa to avoid the trigger when it connects, and Jordan throwing bodies under the 5/1 to avoid taking 10 damage. So both are heavily incentivized not to get hit by these creatures. But like I said, Jordan's just building out a bigger and better board than Tim has. Though at 4 mana, Tim has he's done a lot here. He's played all these equipments and you know has the ability to
Yeah,
interact with the opponent with his hex gold slashes, but has not needed to use them. And in
Tim's deck
comes
is
this
very cheap.
rebel again.
So also like Jordan probably has to always incentivize the block. He just if he lets it go through, Tim could just have like a blazing crescendo and his life would be over. So
Yeah, and
fine.
he's running out of fodder to put under this creatures that he doesn't value. There's the Dune Mover, but all the other eligible blockers are cards he probably wants. Doesn't just want to throw away.
Yeah, it's true. Like Tim should probably take it slow again, play probably like a Bladecraft Aspirant, and then
Yeah.
next turn just triple spell with double Hex Gold Slash and the Gold Warden's Helm that's cheapened by the Aspirant.
Yeah, and I mean this Bladevold War Whip making all the other activations one less has allowed him to move around his otherwise somewhat clunky to move around equipment like Volshock Splitter costing 2 instead of 3 is pretty big here. And Bladegraph Aspirin, I believe it could if I believe Bladegraph Aspirin you could equip for 2 less. Like
Yes,
the
it's
Volshock Splitter
stacks.
could, yeah. Right, so in comes the 3/3, and he's getting in with the toxic creature here. That might prompt a Hex Gold Slash on it. Yeah, Jordan's just drawn a swamp, so he's He's just gotta try and win with what he has on board here. Yeah, so in comes Glissa again.
Yeah, probably
Yes.
wisely realizes that he's only left with two blockers if he attacks with that, and that's not very good if one against them is removed. The other one has to chump block the 5/1, and then the rest get to hit in for like 6.
Yeah, so the first strike creatures stared at each other for a bit, and then Tim decided I would like to begin attacking, and now obviously Glissa's going to attack too. So he throws another rebel under the bus here, and the Pestilent Siphoner gets in for one, which gives Tim 3 poison counters. So any corrupted payoffs that Jordan draws off the top will be unlocked here, which we'll see if that comes to be relevant. So Tim just decides end of turn to kill that 4/4. The Hexgold Slash probably not going to get any better than that.
Yeah.
He doesn't want the risk of those poison counters starting to proliferate.
Yeah, I could even see Tim just like, killing off this 3/4, forcing the chump block out of the Basilica Shepherd if he attacked all. But no, he's just gonna continue playing it sort of safe, reserved.
Yeah.
Get this free chump block essentially, threaten lethal with a pump spell.
Yeah, in a game that's somewhat coming down to a bit of a board stall, the person who draws the removal is going to be at an advantage, which is Tim here. Jordan has not drawn really any interaction at all, just creatures this game.
Well, the thing is, like, about Jordan drawing removal, yes, it slows Tim down, but at the end of the day, everything that's threatening is the equipment. You could eventually just build something to be like it was before. Whereas, like, for Tim, if he draws removal for Glissa, Jordan kind of just, like, falls down and crumbles.
Yeah, he would need something that removes the War Whip. Really, that's the one that's most troublesome here. All right, so another equipment here that's just he's just got the critical mass of the equipment, and even though stuff like Gold Warden's Helm and Volshock Splitter are not like premium cards, it's just like having these equipments in play and making them cheaper to equip just gives you so much flexibility here. Like the fact that every single equipment aside from the War Whip costs 1 less to equip, or 2 if it's going to the Bladegraft Aspirate, just gives him something to do with his mana, where we see Jordan, had 6 mana untapped, drew a swamp, and, could not do anything with his mana.
Yeah.
Alright, so Jordan's drawn an Ambulatory Edifice, which will at least, force Tim to pile up equipment on something other than the Rebel that it's currently attached to.
Yeah, it's a very fortunate draw, actually, because the Bladehold Warp is definitely not cheap to equip. It's 5 mana.
Yeah, if you put some on the Bladegraft Aspirant, though, it will cost 1 less, and it'll actually be more difficult to block because of the Menace. Jordan does have to be conscious of that Menace creature is going to be difficult to block, and, half of his creatures cannot block, unfortunately.
Yeah. And, actually with 5 mana, everything could go on the Aspirant. Because it'll be 4 for the War Whip, 1 for the Splitter, and 3 for the Gauntlet,
The helm? Yeah.
Yeah. No, not the helm. You can equip all those equipments onto the Aspirant for 5 mana.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Batter Fist costs 0. Yeah, and he's just going to slash this, and he's actually, this is looking quite bad. He can no longer block the Bladegraft Aspirant. So if he can get it up to 7 power, he's gonna be able to win this game. I don't think not quite 7. He can get it to 5 power.
Oh, the auto tapper is trying to screw him out of not being able to equip the Splitter. Oh well. But at least you get him for 6.
Yeah, and he can equip the helm also.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was not lethal. Yeah, he would need to get up to 7.
I'm guessing the oops from Tim was basically like he could have equipped the helm onto the 5/1, so it wouldn't have died. But then he wouldn't have had a Hexgold Slash to be held up because he had a tap land.
He's thinking about getting in with this Duelist of Deep Faith. Yeah, and he is. He's pretty committed to just keep chump blocking this Glissa to not allow Jordan to see more cards.
Yeah.
But Jordan's getting low on life to spend on a card. He just had to pay 2 to kill that Rebel token. He would have to pay 1 with Glissa, even if it connected. But Tim's been pretty consistent about not wanting to allow Glissa to hit him, so I imagine he's gonna keep on that track here.
Alternatively, like Tim can be dead to poison here. There's like 5 poison creatures on the other side, and it only really takes like one more way, like to kill the creature and then like get one more
Yeah.
poison counter. He's dead.
And Jordan's got a Vraska's Fall, which will not quite get him to 10 poison. It would get him to 9 because he would have to sack his Duelist of Deep Faith. But yeah, he's gonna start getting in here. He's gonna leave the Glissa back since it can actually tussle with the double strike creature.
Yep.
Yeah, so basically he needs to get in for 2 more poison here. But
I like this line a lot.
he needs to leave back every eligible blocker. All right. So what's Tim holding here? Anything
Well,
to
he just drew that Blazing Crescendo that I was talking about. So every creature they're attacking is lethal, but there is a blocker for all of them.
Well, the Blade Grasp
No,
effort has Menace, so Jordan does have the Vraska's Fall, which will get rid of one of the attackers. So
Okay.
this game's going to come right down to it here. Looks like Jordan is going to be able to survive.
I it's very interesting to put the splitter on the Duelist Deep Faith there.
Yeah.
I have trouble finding the reasoning for now, but I'm sure he has one in his head.
Yeah, because with the Crescendo, everything's lethal anyway. So the Vraska's
Yeah.
Fall is going to get rid of probably the Rebel token here being the worst creature.
Oh wait, I understand the reasoning now. It's because it makes it so Glissa cannot just block the 4/2 without dying.
Also, yes.
Okay, I understand that reasoning there.
So here comes Vraska's Fall, which basically means Tim has to win now because
Yep.
all these little poison creatures are going to get in. So these mites just kind of sat there for quite a while. But now, once the board got whittled down and Tim started not leaving back blockers, the mites come in. So he's going to block both. I assume he's going to block both. Yeah, so he's going to block both.
I wonder if Tim was supposed to Blazing Crescendo his Duelist of Deep Faith and maybe hope to find a 4th Hexgold Slash in his deck, because that would win him the game.
Yeah, I don't think Jordan had not drawn a removal up to this point, and he drew one exactly when he needed it at the very absolute last moment. So good fortune there but he also, put himself in a state where, as long as he survived the turn, he was going to win on the next turn with these little mites coming in. He's going to Blazing Crescendo, just sees a 5/5, so that's not going to do it. And we go on to the second game here. So we'll take a moment to, I sound like a broken record because every time we have Jordan in a feature match for every league, I say he's made top 8 in almost every league he's played in. He's only missed one top 8. And then I look in the top 8 of every league and I see he's there for that league too. So, I let's check the standings. He's 11-2. So, and has made 5 out of 6 top 8. So I feel like a broken record every time he comes in. I'm just, reading off these stats that are completely astounding, really.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the very strong contender in the league.
Yeah.
He's has very nice knowledge of the concepts of Magic.
Oh yeah, and looks like he's about to switch up his deck here. I see him bringing in red lands instead of white, so it looks like he's going to be adjusting his deck here based on what he saw. Maybe he figures because his deck is kind of looking to be an aggressive, leaning, toxic deck, and he says, maybe I need to be a bit more defensive perhaps or have more interaction. So looks like he's going to go for green-red and splashing black here.
I have seen quite an astounding number of Hexgold Slashes. Tim is currently running 4, but he has a total of 7 in his pool.
7? Oh, that's it?
yeah, only 7 Hexgold Slashes.
I mean, do you bring in more here when you see all the toxic creatures? Maybe,
but the problem creatures you saw weren't actually dealt with Hexgold Slash, namely Glissa. That 1/3 is actually really annoying for him, so
Yeah. Yeah, so he's really
But
doing
yeah,
an overhaul. The only cards that he has kept from his original build are like 3 Dune Movers, Prophetic Prism, Glissa, Necrogen Rot Priest, Ambulatory Edifice, Bloated Contaminator, Contagious Vorak, and Viral Spawning, and everything else has hit the sideboard for now. Though some of the cards he took out might come back in, but yeah, it looks like he's going for Hex Gold Slashes, Barbatter Fists. Looks like he's going for a red deck here.
yeah, try to
Wanting to
match the
avoid the board
aggression that you
stall.
saw.
And also
Yeah,
wanting to avoid a board stall, like, because that game, did get into, uh, you know, kind of a board stall. And even though he won, he says, I don't want a board stall because they're just going to have the weapons and the combat tricks and the Hex Gold Slashes. And, he won that one, but he says, I don't want to have to win another one like that. I want to maybe be a bit more proactive here. So bringing in
yeah,
red cards, Cinder Slash Ravager, triple Furnace Strider, double Chimney Rabble. So really looking to get in nice and earlier. And even a Red Sun's Twilight, which could knock out a bunch of the equipments.
yeah. Probably also just wants to get rid of all the toxic creatures, the things that get killed like easily for 1 mana with Hex Gold Slash.
Yeah, he doesn't want to play 3 and 4 drops that get killed for 1 mana very much. I mean, he still has the Bloated Contaminator in his deck, but that card's just excellent. So
Yeah, you can't really just get rid of that card because like one card kills it for 1 mana.
yeah, so he moused over the Icar Spit Basilisk, and he moused over it a second time, and he has 2 copies, and he's thinking about bringing it in, but then maybe he's thinking, okay, I saw 3 Hex Gold Slashes, and I don't want that. I don't want my 3 drop to die for 1 mana if I can avoid it. And looks like he might be passing them up here, yeah?
I mean, yeah, like a big part of like an aggressive deck is like being able to kill things for cheap and like get through easily. And when you try to build a game plan to go against their like 1 mana Hex Gold Slash, it buys them a whole lot more time than if you didn't.
Yeah, and I mean, he didn't really have mana problems in the first game, but Jordan's first deck was very much more like 3 color, like a lot of uh, well, I mean, green was sort of his splash, I would say, but this one is a lot more. He's kept, I think, like two black cards, and the rest is green red, so less prone to mana
Okay.
problems. Even though he did not have mana problems last game, this one will be less prone to it. So what kind of hand does Tim have over there?
He's kept a very slow hand. He has no 1 drop or 2 drop. His first play will be a Gold Ward's Helm, and the
Okay.
next play that he has to really follow that up is Elish Norn.
Oh, okay. Well, that is a good card. Jordan
Yeah,
doesn't have
Elish
a
Norn.
land here, but he does have a Axiom Engraver to perhaps dig him deeper if he doesn't draw them.
Yeah, Elish Norn, really good card. Doesn't synergize with the set as much as I thought it would, but it is very good with the Vermirion equipment.
Yeah, which is kind of a flavor fail there, but
Yeah, it's very weird. It's like Elish Norn helps the Mirrans get more soldiers. Like
yeah. Even
makes
the
makes
white
no sense.
even the white Dominus, it'll give you two tokens when your when your thing comes in. So
Yeah,
yeah, so Jordan's deciding what he wants to do here without a land. Yeah, I imagine he's interested in discarding a card to look for a land here with his Axiom Engraver. He does have cheap plays. He drew a Barbatter Fist. He has Shrapnel Slinger. He has
okay.
Forge Hammer Centurion as a 3 drop, and Blazing Crescendo, Red Sun's Twilight, and Titanic Growth. So he's just, I think, if I think I would be thinking about discarding the Titanic Growth, and looks like he has come to that conclusion. Has not drawn a land here, but he will be able to keep playing cards. So he has Shrapnel Slinger. He drew a Hex Gold Slash. Still has a 3 drop in his hand. So not
Okay.
not crisis mode yet, but yes, he does need to find some lands here.
Yeah, I really like the discarding there, just because like you saw that Tim just had a very slow start, no 1 drop, no 2 drop. You could probably afford to be able to tap this creature to try and find your third land drop.
Yeah, so still no lands here, but he's drawn another 2 drop. So again, he's not going to be falling out of it just yet, but like he does need to get. So he's discarded his Furnace Strider, and he found another Furnace Strider. So
Also, did I hear that he had a Red Sun's Twilight?
yeah, he has Red Sun's Twilight in his hand, which can knock out a bunch of these equipments.
Yeah, but once you kick it, you just get like all of them as tokens that will die in a turn, but you'll get all the two
Yeah, you
triggers.
get the 2/2s. But I think Jordan's he's got other things on his mind here, such as how to make the most of just the 2 mana. And if Tim puts the Elish Norn, like green red is not going to be able to remove this creature at
No,
all.
it isn't.
Um, He doesn't have like he had annihilating glares in his previous deck, but he took them out. He's not running them
Yeah,
now because
imagine if he didn't play.
he just wanted black as like a very small splash.
But yeah, here will come the Elish Norn. The only way I can think about is like if green gets a big enough creature and they fight Elish Norn, but that's not very prominent in this set specifically.
Yeah, he has a blazing crescendo in his hand, which maybe he can pile up multiple creatures and then use a blazing crescendo to get it dead. But this is going to be a pretty difficult road here. So he's drawn an evolving adaptive, which is not helpful. It will enter with its one oil counter, but it will not receive any more
Yeah,
from its ability.
yeah, I believe there's only one creature that actually has an ETB again older oil
Is
counter,
it
and that's
the
the it's the red
fuseling?
one drop. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the
the
fuseling.
Fuseling.
But
So enter as a 0/1 in these conditions.
yeah, so evolving adaptive, it will not die on the spot. I think Jordan's reading evolving and reading Elishnorn and coming to the realization that it will be a 1/1 that will not grow. But again, without a land here, his whatever he plays is not going to be doing too much. He has a shrapnel slinger, which again does not get the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, also kind of fortunate he played the Hex Gold Halberd instead, because without Snoring play, you would not get that 2/2. So I guess that's a flavor win. If they play weapons, you don't have people to man them.
Yeah, I mean this is if you needed it to get worse than being stuck on 2 mana, you have an Elish Norn here,
Yeah.
which can attack. I mean, it can technically, Jordan can gang block it. So
Well, if it gets the +1/+1 from the Zealot, it will be a 5/8. So not
yeah,
enough power on the other side.
yeah, we'll see. Tim might just hang back with Elish Norn here, and let's see what he does. Okay, so does he have a trick of some kind to keep it
Yeah, he
alive
has the
if Jordan decides to do some creative blocking here, which he
he has
is?
Vanish into Eternity.
Okay.
So if he vanishes here, that might just prompt a concede. But
Yeah, so Jordan has a Hex Gold Slash, but he would still need to deal 5 to it in order to get the Hex Gold Slash to kill it.
so Tim will Hex Gold Slash. Okay, so Hex Gold Slash the Engraver get his like 5 for 2 essentially.
Okay, so the Elder Norton will actually. Looks like it is going to actually die here. So he's leapt over the first barrier, which is to get this Elishnorn off the board. Yeah, so if he vanished to Eternity, the 3/1 token, the Elishnorn would still be alive, and
You get to eat 2 creatures.
yeah, this game would be very close to over. I mean, still not looking good for Jordan without a land here. I didn't check his land count, but I assume he's running the normal or close to normal amount. Yeah, so Blazing Crescendo here is just like see if there's land on top of his deck, but looks like we're going to a third game here since Jordan can't really do
Anything.
too much. Yeah, okay. And now
Yeah.
with all these creatures here, yeah, you could play one creature next turn, but yeah, not even a land here in the last turn. So he fought hard with what he had, which was a few cheap spells and only 2 lands. Yeah, so his land count is 19, 21, 24. So 24, 25 seems to be the norm. So he did not. He's not skimping on lands here whatsoever. And he even has 3 Dune movers like that. He didn't even draw those. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's just
tough one.
unfortunate. He kind of managed it as well as he possibly could have with with the hand he's been dealt.
Yeah, and he had the right cards to fight against most of what Tim was playing. I mean, the Elish Norn isn't just an exceptionally difficult threat for a green red deck, but even still, he was able to get it off the board there with even with his lack of resources. So he hasn't made any sideboarding changes yet, but he's carefully considering after what he saw there. Did is Tim thinking about making any changes here or not?
Yeah, he's taken out the Vanish into Eternity, seeing that like he played a lot of early stuff, and decided to put in a Hiri Sacrifice instead.
Okay, well that's
Probably
a
thinking
yeah.
get he could kill many things with it, probably because like he saw a lot of early stuff with like relatively low toughness.
Yeah, so looks like Jordan took out a prophetic prism, just a little bit too slow. It just doesn't affect the board enough. You have to affect the board against what Tim's strategy is. And he brought the Ichor Basilisk, which he passed over the first time, but I guess concluded it was good enough. If it doesn't die to a Hex Gold Slash, it's at least trading with most
Blocking
everything,
everything.
if not walling
Yeah.
off things. Like even a 2/2 double strike, it can trade with that.
What are these portraits though? Why is like Jordan's running the Elishnorn, but he doesn't have one. His opponent does.
I mean, Alistarn's a pretty imposing avatar, though. Whether you have it in your
It's
deck or
true.
not.
It's true. It has that queen-like
Yeah,
posture.
Karn just looks very pensive. He's just thinking, looking off in the distance and thinking about what to do next. So, what's Tim looking at here for his hand?
Once again, he just doesn't have an early drop here. His first play is going to be on turn 3, and he was kind of like, his opponent didn't do very much to pressure his lack of 2-drop, but here can definitely be affecting him.
No, so we've got a shrapnel slinger here. The rest of his hand, nothing too exciting. He has an exuberant fusling, which he just drew for turn, this turn. Furnace
Okay.
Strider, Red Sun's Twilight, and 2 more forests. So, okay, so Jordan's on viral spawning for the turn, so that was about as good of a draw as you can get, like a good beefy 3-drop here to affect the board. He's happy to see that, and Tim's gonna have to play something here.
Oh, he's going to play a Blade Hold War Whip. He's
Okay,
over other choices being Gold Ordnance Helm and 4-Timer Centurion. Could have played 4-Timer Centurion if he had the intention of blocking the 3/3, but he just wants to get the better creature out.
yeah. All right, so Jordan's drawn Ambulatory Edifice, no black source as of yet. Looks like he's gonna play the Fusling and offer the trade here for the 3/3. Yeah,
No, Tim's just going to say, okay.
yeah.
And I honestly think, like, maybe you'd prefer having the double strike creature because, like, it's so much to equip, and, just 4-Hammer Centurion is
Yeah.
not, it takes a lot of work to actually do something.
Yeah, it is also possible Tim saw all those mites and he did lose to poison in game 1 that he, maybe adjusted in his head, I don't want to get poison again. But in this green-red deck, there's actually way fewer ways to get the opponent to poison. But the viral spotting
Yeah,
is a payoff in and of itself.
yeah.
Right, so the Orthodoxy Enforcer is not going to be able to enforce this Furnace Strider as it blows right past it here. This is just like one of the ubiquitous turn 5 plays of this format, the Furnace Strider. This card's just become such a staple. You always want it. Every red deck wants it. Every red deck wants usually multiple copies. It goes pretty early in the drafts. And, just a really solid card. Like 4 or 5 haste that can then even give more haste after. Like, you know, pretty
Yeah,
good
good
5
body
drop.
position, good body for the set, good aggressive and defensive creature. Yeah, pretty much as you said, goes very early. You don't really see high power haste that much in recent sets, but this set has 2.
Yeah, so Tim's gonna pay 5 mana and add 6 power to the board. So Jordan says, you know what? I don't want a 4/4. I'll trade both my creatures.
Yeah, it looks like he just wants to go for the race here because now the 4/5 is just bigger, can
Yeah,
attack through, and he'd be happy to trade 4 damage every turn
yeah. So he's drawn a
because he's
swamp.
ahead.
Yeah, he's drawn a swamp for his ambulatory edifice, which doesn't really, I mean, he could give it haste here, but he's not going to do anything with the trigger. Of note, the last card in hand is Red Sun's Twilight. So as soon as he gets a mountain, he can mow down, any number of equipment that are in play right now. There's just 2, but there might be more coming here. But for now, Tim needs to stop taking damage here. He's at 10.
Yeah, he might just in here he's sacrificing his Bardiche to get rid of this Furnace Strider.
Yeah, not exactly what you want to do, but without a better way to interact. Okay, so he's opting against that.
No, he's going to actually do it. He's
Okay, he is. Okay, yeah. Okay, the Murex makes red mana just for this turn.
yes, so it works out.
Yeah, well, it's. I mean, strangely enough, Jordan probably actually wants that Bardician play because the Red Sun's Twilight kills it. So Um, you know, he loses his creature and he loses, you know, that thing he could have killed. So, and the 4 Charmer Centurion gets a little counter. Um, yeah, so Jordan does have the mountain now. He probably wants to wait for another equipment, but I mean, he's going to take 6 this turn. He can't take 6 too many more times before the Red Sun's Twilight just has to 1-for-1 the War Web.
Yeah, and then well, he'll get a 2/2 out of it, but
Yeah, because he'll do 5, right?
yeah, Tim sees that Jordan didn't do anything, so instead of playing anything else, he just says, "I'm gonna suit this up and attack you for 6."
Yeah, makes sense to me. All right, so here's a Necrogen Rot Priest, which
Doesn't block the 3/2.
no, it can't give itself Death Touch this turn because it's a splash.
I mean, to be fair, it is one of the only creatures in this set that doesn't die to Hexgold Slash.
The toxic creatures, yeah. You have a
Yeah.
couple. You have a couple of big ones at the top end. 7
Yeah.
drops, but yeah, this card's just proved to be really strong. Green black has not been an archetype that most people like are wanting to draft a lot. This card being like one of the main pulls, if not like the main pull into it, outside of rares, obviously. Card just is a poison machine, but here it's just it's just on chump blocking duty or just gonna sit there and not block.
Yeah, so this 4 Timer Centurion gonna get in for 6 again. Like, I don't think Tim's very worried about taking 3 poison or 1 damage to be, for that matter, because like he's at 10, 0 poison. His
Yeah,
opponent's dying way quicker than he is.
I mean Tim's got 4 cards in hand, right? So he's even if what's on board gets dealt with, he has some other things there. So what's he holding there?
He's holding Gold Warden's Helm, Hex Gold Slash, Plated Onslaught, and a Plains.
Okay, so only one really, one real another threat here, but yeah, Jordan needs to find stuff to get out of this. I mean, I think this is going to prompt the Red Sun's Twilight now to kill these equipments.
Yeah, it's actually very unfortunate here that he tapped his Myrex because he could have had the option to activate it if he played his Plains first.
Yeah, if you can't activate it with the lands you have in play, Arena will tap it otherwise. Right, so he's just going to he's going to pop those. He's going to get them. He's basically going to kill 2 equipments, get 2/2/2s. So you know
Very good. Very
without
good.
the equipments, there's no real great way for Jordan to get it. He will be able to trigger the Forge Hammer Centurion if he wishes to, since it's going to gain 2 oil counters here, or it's not. Oh yes, it will.
I mean, to be fair, this is actually quite okay because Tim can just make the Necrogen Rock Priest not block and attack with both. He has a plated onslaught, so he is threatening lethal. And even if he gets double blocked by both, he gets to eat them.
Yeah, I mean the Red Sun's Twilight is good, but it doesn't kill the threats that are in play. And I mean the Forge Hammer Centurion being able to make something not block, very relevant. The card, like it almost never comes up. Like it usually just trades off, or people don't put the card in their deck a lot of the time. But when you need that ability, it can be can be game breaking here. The few
Yeah,
times that you see it live long enough to get 2 or more counters, because it doesn't bring itself in with a counter or anything like that. Right, so
okay, so
here's a
Tim
Vostok
just
Splitter.
probably just wants to build up the board here.
Okay, and Jordan keeps
Uh,
drawing lands here, so looks like if Jordan keeps drawing lands, Tim's going to be able to get this game in his favor.
Tim has drawn something he actually can't cast with his mana base because he only has 1 mountain.
Oh, he's got a double red spell then.
Yeah, he drew his 5/5 Menace
The
Reach for
red, yeah.
5. But now Tim's kind of in poise to just attack with all, right? Like he attacks with all, he makes the Rock Priest not block, and then like everything's kind of all sorts of awkward now.
Yeah, he eliminates the trades by with the plated onslaught. I think he's just counting his mana, making sure he can do exactly what he wants to do.
And that's actually lethal
Yeah, he's gonna
because of the
slash
plated
here.
onslaught.
Yeah, he's gonna make the 1/5 not block, and then uh, he'll be able to pump all of his creatures. So he'll hit for looks to be 9, since the
Yep.
4/2 is gonna get blocked here. And yeah, we see a mana screw, and then we see a mana a bit of a mana flood here for Jordan. Just and a couple of awkward draws there. And Tim found what he needed here, looks like.
I mean, yeah, the worst case scenario for Tim is like Jordan has a removal, and it doesn't even look that bad if Jordan does. If he
Yeah,
trades with the Centurion, he still takes 4.
Jordan, I guess he's thinking about maybe blocking Forge Hammer just to turn off future abilities, future activations. But as we know with the plated onslaught, there's not going to be another turn after this. But he is taking his time here. Just yeah. So he does come to the conclusion that's the one he wants to block. He says, "I die to basically any pump spell, no matter how I block. Every pump
Yep.
spell deals at least 2, so taking 6, doesn't change anything. If there was a possibility to not die to, a couple of the pump spells before
Undeserved.
might have
Holy
done that.
shit.
So congratulations to Tim, and we'll be back for next match in a little bit.